Hello, beautiful souls. Well, today I want to share with you an experience that I had in April of 2020 that followed up again in May of 2022, and then once again only days ago, June 2nd, 2024. Well, the original event took place before I had any YouTube channels, so at that time I was only transcribing and writing down the information I received from my guides and other sources, and sharing these written transcripts with close friends. Now, I will attempt to put all of this together onto this one video and share it with you here. And just know that because of some of the possible restrictions on YouTube, I may have to be a little bit creative about how I phrase things here and there, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. Additionally, as I've stated many times, if any of this information doesn't feel right, doesn't resonate with you, or make sense to you, you have my permission to just chalk it all up as fiction and move on. It's always up to you. I'm just here for you to share my experiences as a starseed walk-in, and that's what I plan to do here, to relay to you events and information that came through to me and bring it forward to you as truthfully and concisely as I possibly can. And after I finish these, sharing the messages, I will attempt to offer some answers and solutions. Remember, to every question, there's always an answer. And to every problem, there's always a solution. So I hope you'll listen to the end. Well, on this day in 2020, I remember my internet was out. No wireless signal, which happened a lot back then. And so I'd been busy with household chores and had just taken a couple minutes to sit down in my big overstuffed chair and put my feet up. As I leaned my head back and closed my eyes, I suddenly heard a very strong, distinct English-speaking voice in my mind. The first words were, "We are the Yael." After repeating this a few times, they told me that they had come into Earth's atmosphere in the year 1997 and are now known to some as those of the Phoenix Lights. Well, they went on to say that they are one of several hybrid races in contact now with those starlights, meaning starseeds, inhabiting planet Earth. They stressed that they have not come here as guides or teachers, but are instead here only to bring a dire warning to humans, who they said are caught deeply into the false information brought forth by those of the darkness. Now remember, this was 4 years ago. Well, the voice coming through repeated that they had a simple but significant message that we must listen to and then take action, but only if it's chosen by your heart. They said they were the messengers, not the jailers, and that humans are used to taking orders and that they're not here to give orders, only knowledge and advice. Well, the voice went on to say that we are the hybrids, and told how they're made up of several star races, some from what we would call our future selves, and some from what we might refer to as the children of man. They explained that millions of years in humanity's past, that they were very much like the humans of today, yet even more emotional than the present humankind, which I can hardly imagine. They said that in their history, a disastrous experiment was performed which resulted in a situation where emotions took control of the entire population of the planet and plunged their world into chaos. Well, desperate to fix this tragic mistake, their scientists decided that the most probable solution would be to clone a new race of beings in which all emotional responses have been removed. Well, at first this seemed fairly successful, but after a few generations, it was soon discovered that these clones had no capacity for love. So over time, they ended up making a deal with the humans of Earth that with their permission, they would use their advanced technology to obtain genetic material from human volunteers, and that this material would then be implanted into the clones. Within this, a contract was signed between the Zetas and the humans, which was that in an astral state, they could collect DNA from those loving, emotional starseeds, who gave permission for this assistance, in hopes that the new hybrid race would be infused with a higher frequency of love, leading eventually to a final integration. Well, this ET voice went on to say that another of the hybrid civilizations speaking out now are those from Essassani. The Sassani are also Zeta hybrids and are very aware of the potential hazards of artificial technology when it begins to overtake the emotional connection to the source. And when technology becomes dangerous, it takes over the soul essence. They said, this is why we're here. Now, here they made a very interesting point. They said that, unfortunately, there are very few on the planet, at least at that time, who are not now tied to their electronics. And so their message has been muted. They said that those in close proximity to an activated cellular signal are not able to hear their voice, and added that because I had no cell phone, and at that moment no wireless signal, I was able to pick up their message quite easily. They stressed again that the knowledge they bring forth is vital to the destiny of our world, because it's fully understood by the hybrid races, these tragedies that can occur when artificial intelligence overtakes the wisdom of love. The hybrid messenger went on to say that mankind is controlled and bullied by the darkness to believe that material gain and status is what is most important. And these dark lies tell people that it's important to own the latest technology in order to be all they can be. And this vanity overtakes the heart's wisdom. They described that there is now, this was in 2020, the darkest of agendas occurring on our world ever imposed upon man. And I probably don't need to tell you what that was. However, there's another piece of this, what they called perverted deception, that is not as obvious and is hidden under the guise of a faster internet connection, but is in reality an energetic technology that is higher than a physical body can bear. And they described it as irreparably irradiating the biology and neurological cells. They expressed that this is a scheme to instill artificial intelligence, meant to take away choice and cause fatal illnesses. They also said that this technology has a capacity to create invisible but very real barriers of some kind. Now, I'm not sure I really understood that part, but they said that if someone attempts to cross these boundaries, that it would cause them great pain. I'll just have to take their word for it because I don't really get it. But they said that the main agenda is control, allowing for a constant surveillance of each person, where they are and what they're doing at all times. Now, please understand that this is not my information. I am just the messenger. It is very unusual for me to share anything that is not positive and uplifting. So I hope you understand that my role in the disclosure of this information is to offer solutions and alternative ways of interpreting data that is actually coming to assist humanity to break free from the control that it's been under for millennia. And that is not always sunshine and rainbows. From my point of view, it is important to become informed. Then, before reacting, to take that knowledge and filter it through your own higher wisdom. Meditate on it and ask for truth. Love and truth are the most important gauges of discernment and motivation. Well, during this initial visit, they suggested that people ask themselves whether they would be willing to get rid of their smart devices, especially anything that's hooked to a cell signal, like a smartphone. They advised to use only a landline phone or a third generational mobile phone with no internet connection. And this kind of blew my mind. They went on to say that a smartphone is a tracking device that is meant to monitor your every move and conversation, and that those within the vicinity of a smartphone are under the authority and power of the force of darkness. And you are recognized and tagged, and they said will never be free again as long as you stay connected to that signal. The IL explained that it is this smart technology that bans them from bringing their message to more people because those connected are not able to hear them or even perceive their presence. They said the smartphone is a lock against your doors of perception, and that the signal sent from the phone keeps you connected to the AI base and follows you wherever you go. And the way that they put it was that this AI signal is a disruptor. They said corrupting the celestial voice that links the starseeds and humans to the higher realms. This is the reason that each starseed has within them an innate homing device, an etheric implant, meant to receive an ongoing message of support and advice, and that this voice is stilled by smart technology. The voice that's calling them home. Okay, so the experience I had in 2022 was very similar to the one 2 years before. Well, by then I had developed a habit of turning off my modem each night before bed. Well, I was awakened around 3 a.m. with this same voice coming through. They began again by saying, "We are the Yael," 3 times. Well, I got up and grabbed my laptop and took down their message as they spoke. The first part of the message was a total repeat of the same information I'd received before, but with some additional details. Again, they said that I would not have been able to hear them if my wireless signal was functioning. They said that those who are hearing them are ones who came forth into this density from a future that is fully aware of the perils of artificial technology and have contracted to help disseminate information coming from those extraterrestrial sources in orbit above our planet. They said that it's also relevant to realize that these starseeds who volunteered to help to share this important message left homes of incredible beauty and peace, homes snuggled deeply into nature, where there's no food in the cupboards because it's all enclosed into a magnificent garden filled with fruits and vegetables and flowers, shrubs and plants of all kinds. That this garden is a natural paradise situated within a domed ecosystem, a perfected biome of magnificent beauty and function. They described these starseeds as peaceful beings who willingly left these tranquil lives to voluntarily fall into the heavy density of Earth with one purpose in mind: to assist in the awakening of humankind, and that they are now being activated to help these hybrid races inform the world of what they call a perversion of corruption forced upon an unaware population, and the potential ending of the story of mankind. They spoke of what I will refer here to as the unfortunate counterfeit healing modality that was chosen by most humans. They stated that they have returned with another plea to mankind, and to once again inform them that they are now on the same or very similar timeline as the one that destroyed their entire civilizations. The hybrids said that it brings them great sadness that those on Earth do not understand that we are their parents. They are our children, created through our own genetic material. They're extremely discouraged that their message has not made the difference that they hoped it would. They're not able to interfere, only to advise and offer information. They said that they observe humanity as they mindlessly pursue the latest electronic gadgetry, actually asking for the newest in artificial and virtual technology without a thought to the potential danger or harmful repercussions. And that along with their blind acceptance of the media's push to take, has sealed their fate. And if this course of action is continued, will be their last chance to communicate with some, because the technology they're coupled with will not allow their voice to come through. They insisted that it is more than time for humanity to take their power back before it's too late, and that for much of the world it may already be. This was 2022. They went on to say that technology in itself is not good or bad, that it depends totally on the intent of the user, and that many advanced star races enjoy their technology, but value as much or more the simplicity of nature and those pleasures of creating gardens and preparing their own meals, building their own homes. They do not prefer robotic slaves over their own creativity. Well, they ended that transmission by saying the best thing we could do at this stage is for each person to consider the life they have lived through duality and the life they would prefer to live. They advised that the density of duality has caused so much trouble and misery, and that humanity as a collective now has the power and ability to alter all that has happened in history through a new perception by knowing truth. The truth of the deception that has veiled humanity for millions of years, that it's now or never. That they have lived the future that brought about the ending of mankind as an emotional and loving being, and are now doing everything they can to assist humans into reaching beyond the suffering and into a place of freedom, encompassing all densities of awareness from the third on upward into the highest realms of light. And from there, a new species will emerge that will bring enlightenment and peace to the world. So as I said, the current visit from these hybrid beings came just a few nights ago. I'd been sleeping on the floor upstairs in the family room when I had an intense ringing in my ears. Well, it was Saturday night, so I was wearing earplugs just to gain peace from any potential neighborhood noise. But when I removed my earplugs, that telepathic inner voice remained the same. The message began the same way, repeating the entire 2020, 2022 information. Then started adding some things they hadn't talked about before. They first made an interesting point by telling me that as a starseed, I was no more special than hundreds of other souls, but with one exception, that I had long ago made the decision not to own a smartphone. And this strengthened my link to the reception of their incoming telepathic signal. And they again chose to come during the nighttime hours because they said that the field of the planet was clearer at this time. Well, I looked at the clock and it was just after 2 a.m. They explained that they had some important further data that they wanted me to share with others, saying that the month of June 2024 was significant because there was going to be a very strong push from what I'll just call them bad guys rather than specific names, to bring forward a further portion of their plan, which would be to use the incoming energies from the solar flares to intensify a signal that would be sent globally to Earth from a satellite system using what they called a telecom technology, which is based on a very strong, I think they said, radio frequency radiation, employing extremely long, high millimeter waves beyond anything employed upon the Earth before. They said the inception of this project began in 2019 with the installation of a specific type of cellular tower that now crisscrosses the globe. This satellite signal has been created to disrupt the compromised neurologic and nervous systems of those who have accepted the medical modality enforced upon them back then, which, when initially implemented, has since lain dormant until a certain catalyst, which in this case would be triggered by this incoming signal to the affected person, whose brain can now be influenced through purposeful suggestion, the first step in mind control. These interference signals that would be sent to Earth cannot be blocked by weather or electromagnetic barriers of any kind, and they said can cause immediate disruptions to the biology of a human body, interfering with the cellular process and damaging the mitochondria, dampening the immune system and bringing irreparable harm to the organs, liver, kidneys, heart, brain. And by the way, if you're able to research some alternative sources, you'll find that this information is already out there online. It just takes a lot of perseverance to find it. Also, in a similar topic, another relevant tidbit of information you might be interested in was that the creator of Star Trek was in contact with a group of ETs who gave him the information that he put into his Star Trek episodes. And that's why there was so much truth in that show. So, those of you who remember the Borg from Star Trek, well, this is how it all began. By replacing biology with cybernetics and linking each organism to a sort of hive mind, which they called the collective, where through nanotechnology they would assimilate individual beings, altering them into cybernetic drones under the control of this alien race. Well, this is sort of what these bad guys in control are hoping to accomplish, which all began with the 2020 suggested healing procedure pushed on gullible humans and implemented throughout the planet. Their rationale behind this radioactive assault is sort of a part two to set the AI program into motion using genetic engineering, cryonics, and nanotechnology, with a promise of augmenting the human condition and capabilities, enhancing longevity and so on, with a goal of transcending all body limitations, yet while doing so, restricts and interferes with the person's own divine connection to source. So crap, what are we going to do? Are we all doomed to follow this tragic timeline that destroyed the genetics of love and completely eradicated an entire future of these past civilizations? Are we going to become a planet filled with robotic humanoids with no free will? Not the way I see it. Why? Because we now know better. And this is just information we can learn from so that we don't make those same mistakes. This is also an opportunity to ask ourselves, who am I without my phone? And would I even be able to survive without it for a couple of days, or even for one day? Can I be happy without my evening TV ritual, or without scrolling through Facebook or watching a YouTube? This is a great chance for us to discover what owns us and how we can get beyond that. Our future is up to each one of us. So, do we have to get rid of all of our smart devices and technology? Of course not. Just be creative with it. For example, you might turn off your modem when it's not in use. You could put your phones or your tablet, laptop in Faraday bags when you're not using them. You know, nothing can get through that protective material that these bags are made from. Plus, it's protection from any potential EMP that might disrupt our power for a time. And this way you won't lose any of your information that's stored on these devices. It's a win-win. Makes sense either way. But you know, most importantly, play this game of life fearlessly. Know your own power, your own worth. There is never any reason to fear. You are an eternal being. Nothing can ever take your life from you. And remember, this planet resides in many levels of density, from the lower astral to the higher densities of light. Choose your world. You know, the paradise of the new earth is not a fiction. It's a timeline. And it exists now, right here in the same space as this disastrous timeline of AI mind control exists, but in a higher density. This new earth is as close as your next breath and is available to us all. Just because we are aware of this AI timeline doesn't mean we're forced to accept it. What is a timeline, and how is it created? We are a timeline. You and I. We are our own timeline, chosen through our frequency, along with our beliefs and attitudes. How do we jump over the robotic timeline of fear and submission and land on the new earth? Through the courage it takes to accept your own divinity, to stand up for yourself and be counted as one who refuses to be conquered. Know yourself. And don't allow anyone else to tell you who you are and what you need to do to be safe and live a fulfilled life. Discover it for yourself. Find out who you truly are as a sacred being. And shout it out to the world and the universe. It will be heard. This is me. I am this. This powerful creator and sovereign being of light and love. I am that. I am love. I want to thank you all for being with me today, and I hope I see you again very soon. Bye.